Hey, what's up traders? It's Duad here, and today I am showing you a trade setup that I recently took on PEPE, and I'm going to do a full trade review here. I'm going to explain the justification for why I took the trade. I'm going to show you some advanced features that I use on a platform called AltTradey, and I'm going to show you some different potential profit-taking strategies and just give you a well-rounded view of what I'm expecting from PEPE and potential outcomes and different ways of taking profit on a trade like this. So let's dive right on in. So here it is first. I'm sitting in some nice profits here. And I took this trade a few days ago. I gave it to my group on the 4th of Feb. And at the time, what I was saying is that the trade, I hadn't entered it yet, but I was expecting for price to drop down and sweep these lows. And I'll explain to you what I mean by that. So if I come back over here to trading view, so I'm going to zoom down actually. I'm going to go into the 4-hour chart. And this is the recent flash crash we had. Just let me get something with volume on it. There we go. So I'm going to focus more on this volume here. You saw there was this huge capitulation. This was the recent crash where the Trump tariff fears, which seemed to be a overreaction. Anyhow, so I saw this and I saw this huge volume bar, huge selling volume bar, and that looked to me like capitulation, which means that a lot of sellers were forced out right here. And this long wick shows that there were buyers there waiting, right? So imagine there were all these stop losses and people got cascaded out, boom, sell. And then it got bought up real quick. But then what I figured is that these market makers, they're not going to let you get away that easily with just buying in here and enjoying a nice free ride. So what they do and what I expected was, well, here, I can also show you if I take a Fibonacci from low to high, and I'll just edit this to show only the golden pocket. You can see, let me zoom in here. You can see that when I took this Fibonacci from the low all the way to the high, and then if you drag it out, it was showing that right around this area would likely get revisited, right? That's the golden pocket. And I'm also going to zoom out onto the weekly, and you can actually even drag this all the way here. And you'll see that this has been a line of support and resistance. I might change the color just so you can see it clearer. Let's make it yellow. So this yellow line in the past, this is on the weekly chart, which means every bar is 1 week, right? So in the past, you can see that this level it got rejected here before. And then here, it initially the price came all the way up here, it got rejected. And then finally it broke out. And then it came down, it got support here. Then it broke down. And it's always just, you can see by the candle closes that there has been a bunch of times that this level has been an area of support and resistance or resistance, right? And so then when you come across here, you're like, well, okay, this is a pretty key level, right? So I expected, and we already saw this happen. And so I expected, well, you can't expect, but I assumed, and like the great thing about a trade like this is that you'll know whether or not it's a good trade quickly because you're right on support and it's easier to manage. I'll explain a little bit more. So I took that Fibonacci and I pulled it up from the low to the high. It gave me that golden pocket, but I still thought, you know what? I don't think that you could have entered on that golden pocket and that would have been great, but I still figured that these market makers wanted to. So imagine people would have taken trades here and then they would have put their stop loss right below here. And I pretty much expected that this would get taken out, and sure enough, right here, you can see that price came up, people would have FOMO'd in, come back, right? And then it came back down, looked like it was all good, held support, but then boom, just a quick little wick here. And that was, I believe, right where I entered. I'll show you on AltTradey, which is a really cool platform. In fact, AltTradey also has this thing they call the base, and it often gets revisited. So anyway, you can see my break-even level here on the purple. So my entry was right around there, which was beautiful because then immediately I'm in profit, right? And so I want to show you also how I did my risk management on this one, because the beautiful thing with AltTradey is that you have this option of, here, let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to edit here, and there's an advanced stop loss feature where it goes on candle close. And so what that means is that, because often just like here, right, they just tap all these stop losses, boom, and then it goes the other way. So in order for me to prevent that, I ended up using well, the entry was here, so I believe I started off with my stop loss here. And what it means is that if price came down and closed a full candle body under this level, then I would have been stopped out. And at that point, it would have also been, I believe that on this trade, my risk was around $1,000. And so immediately got into profits, and price came up, it made a higher low. And so I was comfortable moving my stop loss up now here, which means unless a candle comes and closes below this purple line, I'm in profit. And if I do get stopped out, I mean, unless it really closes like far down here, then I could end up, well, I'm already basically, this means I would make no loss, or maybe slight profit actually. So I feel comfortable in this trade. I love when they work out like that. Obviously, you're never guaranteed that it's gonna come down to hit your limit order, but this time, fortunately, it did. So you can see here, yeah, it just came down. This is on the, I'm not sure actually which, if this is a 4 hour, but yeah, you can see it came here, now we're up here, right? So next, I want to show you the different options that you have for taking profits. And again, on AltTradey, there's some really cool things just built into this platform. I really love AltTradey. Is honestly for centralized exchange trading. I can't live without it. Some of you guys were copy trading me on Blowfin and Bybit, and I was doing it for a while, but honestly, like, I'm so dependent on AltTradey, but you know, I'm okay with that. Like, I really love this tool, and I'm going to show you some of the really slick features that it has, right? So anyway, you can see here it's got auto support and auto resistance, I suppose. I'll show you on the daily as well. So it automatically plots these lines of resistance, right? So I mean, that alone can be your TP1. Honestly, that's a pretty good one, because you can see here that this is a line of where, again, it was resistance, it was support, it broke through, it was support, and then it became resistance. So this could be your TP1, and this could be your TP2. I'll just show you another couple ways that you could do it though. So we come back here, I'm gonna go on the daily, and okay, so we've got our line of support, and our entry was here. We're in profit, but we're about to hit resistance right now. So this could be a place where you want to take profits. So one option you have is taking the Fibonacci retracement tool, which I will, well, it's right here, this one here, but I've already done it. So you come over here and I'll show you the settings. You can pause the video. So which ones you can, so I show you what my settings are. But essentially, I just dragged from the top. I started at the top and dragged all the way to the bottom here. And that's it. So this 236 is already looks like a potentially similar place as what the other one was suggesting. What is that? 128? Oh, 128. No, I guess that one is more like up here. Let's see on the 4 hour. Okay, so there's not confluence there. But the thing is with taking profits, like, there's no perfect answer. Like, honestly, it's also depending on your style. Like, you could, here, for example, right now, my current TP is all the way up here. I just put that there because it's just like a placeholder, right? And here's the cool thing. Okay, so you can see here that based on this trade, if I was to leave the TP, or yeah, the take profit, that meaning that I'm not going to take any profits and I'm going to ride it all the way up. It's telling me that based on the current situation, that would yield me around $26,800, which, hey, that'd be sweet, right? And you could do it that way. Honestly, like, I'm in a safe position here. I can't really lose unless it closes a 4 hour candle below here. But, you know, you don't know that either. You might get rejected and maybe it comes all the way down and then all of a sudden I've given up my, what am I in, almost, yeah, 2,000 profit. So it's, again, this is a very personal thing. It's all up to you. Do you want to risk that maybe you just get stopped out and break even? Or do you want to take your profits? You could sell it all, like, hey, this is a pretty decent trade on its own, right? What I'm thinking more is like here, and so you can do, for example, on this trade, you can add, and this is why I love our alt trading as well. You can add targets, right? I'm going to add take profit, and I'm going to add whatever, 3. So here, just for example, you could literally just go and drag and drop and say, here are my take profit levels. And the cool thing is that alt trading automatically calculates for you how much profit you would actually make on this trade. And then if you decide, oh, actually, I want to move this one up here, watch, it'll adjust. This is stuff that I find so awesome with trading. I've never seen it anywhere else, at least not to this level. If you've seen a better tool, I would love to know it. I love tools and stuff like this where it really takes the thinking out and like reduces admin. Because, you know, sometimes when you're using centralized exchanges, like, there's a lot of times where you're just clicking a lot of buttons. Like, in order to do this, honestly, there's usually a lot more clicking of buttons or maybe adding one by one. And yeah, this stuff, and especially the stop loss feature that I'm telling you about, where, and you can also do, like, for example, enable trailing for last target. And what this means is that after the last target, and you can change how much profit that it'll leave, right? So meaning that you can leave a moon bag and the trailing stop loss will just continue to ride the price up for as long as it doesn't come down, right? So if you just say whatever, 10% below the price, so it could go up, the trailing stop will follow it. But then if it comes down, and so long as you don't get tapped your stop loss and it continues up, then it'll just continue riding, right? And so, I mean, that's a whole nother strategy in itself. You could potentially, if I want, for example, just leave this and don't touch the profits. And as it's going up and makes a higher low, I then move my stop loss. I mean, I don't want to actually do it, but you can just ride your stop loss. And then if it goes up here, ride it up again. So I'm always in profit, just chasing the price. I mean, look, if you did that here, boom, and you just rode it, you would have been in pretty good profits. You probably would have got stopped out somewhere around here, I suppose. But anyway, I'm canceling this edit. And yeah, I think that's about it, guys. This is a pretty sweet trade, and gave it to my group the other day. And I also shared the link to AltTradey, which means that you can automatically click it and it would have given the whole setup, and you just click place order. So for the moment, that's my best version of copy trading, because like I said, I really love this tool so much, and I have never seen anywhere else that makes it this easy and stress-free. Basically, I don't have to think about liquidation levels. It has it here. It auto calculates. When I was placing the trade, it would tell me, like, if I have a stop loss here, how much do I stand to lose? If you want to increase your position or close it or add a stop loss or whatever. It's just so intuitive, I find. Choose your leverage. Anyways, I think that's about it. I was aiming for a 7-minute video. Just to summarize, I showed you why I took the trade, why I figured that this would get a liquidity sweep, which served as my nice little sniper entry. It's now sitting in juicy profits, even though it doesn't look like a lot, but I did put a decent sized trade on here. And that's another thing that a lot of people don't, I guess, especially if you're new, you always think you need to get the massive gain to get your, whatever, your big trade, right? Like you put your $100 and then you end up with $300 or whatever it is, right? But you know, whenever you see people flexing like, oh yeah, 146%, the most important thing to ask is 146% of what? I could have put a trade for $10. So it's like, yeah, whoop-de-doo, I've got now, whatever it is, that much profit. Or it could actually say 10%, but then you go, well, 10% of what? What if I put $1 million trade? Right? So this is just stuff that I guess comes, if you're new in trading, it's confusing. Leverage is a real mind. It does your head in the beginning, but once you start to understand this stuff, it clicks. I remember it did take a while to click, but once it did, you're like, oh, okay. Anyhow, if you're interested in learning how to trade like this or to follow my trades, come check me out in Gains Lab. And the link is in description, and there's a free trial. So, hey, by the way, if you like this content, you've got something out of it, please hit the like and consider subscribing. And yeah, have a nice day. Peace out.